picture this. It's 9:15 a.m.
Oh boy. The classic time.
Right. You just sat down at your desk, you take that like first sip of coffee, you open your laptop, and then boom, it begins. The ping score.
Yep. Slack, Teams, whatever it is. Ping, ping, ping.
Exactly. Like suddenly you have 8 unread messages, all demanding your attention, and you haven't even opened your actual email inbox yet.
It's honestly the defining auditory trigger of the modern workplace, that little notification chime. It doesn't just mean someone is talking to you. It can trigger a genuine physiological stress response for a lot of people.
Oh, totally.
Because it's constant, right? It's immediate. And unlike an email just sort of, sitting quietly in a folder somewhere, it expects a reaction right now.
Which is exactly our mission for this deep dive today.
Right.
We're going to decode the hidden language of these modern workplace chat platforms.
It's such a needed topic.
Right, because we've got a fantastic source today. It's this highly practical guide that isolates and breaks down the 10 essential phrases that completely dominate these quick work messages.
Yeah, the frequency of these specific phrases is wild.
It is, because, believe it or not, there is this very specific unwritten code to how we're supposed to speak to each other in these little digital boxes.
It's an entirely distinct dialect of professional communication, and I think the craziest part is it evolved incredibly fast.
Yeah, I mean, it really did.
Like, if you think about the history of office communication, we went from formal memos to emails. And email was still asynchronous, right? You could reply on your own time.
Mm-hmm.
But chat platforms, they sort of hijacked the psychology of instant messaging, like early 2000s A or MSN Messenger.
Wow, throwback, yeah.
Right. And suddenly they forced that continuous synchronous communication into the corporate sphere. It occupies this very specific high-speed middle ground that, while most of us were never formally trained how to use.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Because our source points out a major trap that so many people fall into, especially when they're, new to a corporate environment or transitioning from an industry that relies heavily on formal email.
Oh, the trap, yes.
The trap is treating a chat box like you're writing a formal letter or like a school essay.
The dreaded formal Slack message. I mean, it just completely ignores the medium.
Yes. You get a ping, and it says, Dear colleague, I hope this message finds you well on this fine Tuesday morning. I am writing to inquire about the status of the quarterly report.
Oh, it hurts to even hear it.
Right. Reading that, it feels almost jarring. It's like someone wearing a tuxedo to a backyard barbecue. It just feels incredibly out of place.
Yeah, and that jarring feeling comes from the friction. Because chat is architected for frictionless speed. The interface is small, the text bubbles are meant to be consumed in like a single glance.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bring paragraph-level formality into a space meant for rapid-fire problem solving, you are actively slowing the gears down. You literally force the other person to mentally wade through pleasantries when their brain is actively searching for the core information.
Yeah, they just want the noun and the verb.
Exactly. They're looking for the noun and the verb, and you're giving them like Victorian prose.
Which is why mastering this specific chat dialect, these tiny unwritten social contracts, is the ultimate shortcut for you to sound instantly professional.
Absolutely.
It saves countless hours of typing. And crucially, it's how you manage your own cognitive load so you don't just, burn out by noon.
Well, and to do that, we have to start with how we handle the beginning of the workday. When you open your laptop to that avalanche of morning messages, you can't read them chronologically like a book.
No, definitely not.
You have to perform triage. You scan and decode the opening phrases your coworkers use because those first few words are vital indicators. They signal the complexity of the task and how much brain power the sender needs from you right at that moment.
So let's look at the absolute, undisputed king of those morning triage messages. Quick question.
Oh, yeah. The classic.
You see those 2 words constantly. The way I visualize it, it's like someone is lightly knocking on the frame of your open office door instead of just barging in, sitting on your desk, and starting to talk. It's a micro request for permission to interrupt.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. The source explicitly categorizes quick question as a tiny social contract.
A contract.
Right. When a coworker types that phrase, the unwritten promise they are making is, I am not going to derail your entire morning. I need one very specific, easily retrievable piece of information, and then I will leave you alone to do your deep work.
Okay, but I have to push back on the reality of that premise.
Oh.
Because we all know that one coworker who types quick question hits enter and then follows it up with, 5 massive paragraphs of text detailing a convoluted supply chain crisis that is going to take 3 hours and a cross-functional task force to solve.
Oh, yeah. We all know that person.
That doesn't feel like a light knock on the door.
Right.
It feels like an ambush. I suspect people do this on purpose to trap you into reading the message before you realize how much work it is.
Yeah, no, it is a trap. And the source actually acknowledges that exact scenario. They label that a betrayal of the medium.
A betrayal. That perfectly captures the feeling.
It is. It's the worst kind of workplace betrayal because they violated the fundamental social contract of the platform. Like we said, quick question is meant to guarantee a 30-second interaction.
Right.
By using it, you promise the receiver that the cognitive load required to answer is practically zero. If you bait and switch them with a massive problem, you aren't just being annoying. You are actively training your colleagues to ignore your messages in the future.
Wow.
You're degrading your own reliability.
So the functional rule here is if you use quick question, the answer should take less than a minute to type.
Exactly.
Moving past that, we hit 2 other incredibly common morning triage messages that honestly often get tangled up. Heads up and its close cousin, FYI.
What's fascinating here is the subtle but absolutely crucial difference in how our brains are expected to process these two phrases. To the untrained eye, heads up and FYI might seem entirely interchangeable.
Right, they just seem like synonyms.
Yeah, they're both prefixes used to deliver sudden information. But culturally, in the digital workplace, they dictate 2 entirely different workflows.
Because heads up feels inherently physical. Like even in text, it carries this kinetic energy, like someone is tossing you a ball and you have to catch it or you're going to get hit in the face.
That kinetic energy is completely intentional. Heads up is a friendly warning. It carries a necessary sense of urgency and proximity. It tells the recipient that something is actively shifting in the environment, and it requires either their acute awareness or an immediate adjustment in their behavior.
So like what?
For example, heads up, the client hated the initial pitch and they moved our follow-up meeting to 2 p.m. Or, heads up, the boss is in a terrible mood today.
Oh man, we've all been saved by that second one. Someone is tossing you a lifeline so you don't step on a landmine in your 10 a.m. stand-up meeting.
Exactly.
You have to adapt your strategy based on a heads up. But FYI, which literally stands for your information, operates on a completely different frequency.
It operates on a static frequency. If heads up demands an adjustment, FYI strictly means no action is required.
Not at all.
Right. It is purely informational data meant for your passive archives. FYI, Sarah is out sick today. You don't need to cover Sarah's shifts. You don't need to reply with a get well soon message to the person who told you. You simply file the fact away.
So when you see FYI, your brain should categorize it as a closed loop immediately. Info received, filed, moving on.
Yeah.
Realizing you don't actually have to intellectually engage with every single piece of text that crosses your screen is, it's incredibly freeing.
It really is. It protects your mental bandwidth.
Yeah.
And preserving that bandwidth is the entire point of triage.
Yeah.
Because once you clear that morning noise, you actually have to transition into collaborative work.
Right.
You have to build things with these people.
Which means we transition from scanning messages to actually trying to get projects moving. This midday collaboration phase is where the language gets incredibly delicate.
Highly delicate.
Because text is notorious for stripping away nuance. Right? So we have to artificially inject warmth using these specific phrases to keep momentum going without accidentally offending our coworkers.
We're basically engaging in digital diplomacy. When you strip away the tone of voice, the micro expressions, the smile you would normally give someone in the hallway.
All human stuff.
Exactly. Even a totally neutral, factual statement can read as aggressive or demanding on a screen. So we use specific phrasing to artificially compensate for the coldness of the pixelated medium.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the phrase, just a gentle reminder.
Good one.
Right. You send an important message on Monday. It's now Wednesday. You absolutely need an answer to keep your project from stalling out. So you type just a gentle reminder about that report. My working theory on this is that we use the word gentle because modern corporate culture is terrified of hierarchy.
Oh, for sure.
Like everyone wants to pretend we're all just equal peers hanging out in a flat structure, even when we literally need someone to do their job so we can do ours.
That is a brilliant sociological read on the situation. You're talking about the shift from hard authority to soft power.
Soft power, yeah.
If you just type reminder, I need the report, You instantly sound like a 1980s middle manager giving a directive to a subordinate.
Yeah, it assumes hard authority. It sounds like nagging.
And if you aren't actually that person's boss, or frankly, even if you are, but you're trying to cultivate a modern collaborative team culture, that word alone causes the receiver's defensive shields to go right up.
They read reminder and instantly feel criticized, like they're failing.
Exactly. But by adding the word gentle, you completely disarm the phrase. You are transmitting a very complex emotional message in one single word. You're saying, I know you're juggling a lot. I'm not questioning your work ethic. I'm not angry, but I am respectfully asking for my need to jump back to the top of your queue.
Wow.
It removes the punitive vibe entirely and replaces it with a signal of mutual respect.
It's linguistic padding.
Yeah,
You're wrapping your request in bubble wrap so nobody gets bruised.
that's a great way to put it.
Moving to another piece of digital diplomacy. When you're chatting with someone and you realize a third person needs to see the conversation, you type, looping in Mark. Our source highlights this phrase as pure office gold.
Oh, it really is.
And I contrast this with the old days of email where someone would say, I am adding Mark to this thread, or the dreaded CCing Mark, because CCing, someone always felt weaponized to me.
Totally weaponized.
Like, I'm CCing my manager so there's a permanent paper trail of your incompetence.
The weaponized CC is exactly what looping in evolved to replace. Saying CCing feels bureaucratic, stiff, and highly punitive. It brings the feeling of an HR tribunal into a casual chat.
An HR tribunal, yes.
But looping in, on the other hand, feels fundamentally human. It evokes the spatial imagery of an actual circle, of pulling up a chair for someone. It says, we are a team, and Mark has expertise we need, so let's bring him into the fold so he isn't left in the dark.
It frames Mark as a contributor rather than an overseer. And when Mark gets that notification and sees looping you in, he instantly understands his social context. He's being invited to collaborate around a campfire, not being dragged in to testify.
Beautifully said.
Now, what about when the collaboration is actually working? Like people are agreeing on things. Our source gives us two tiny rapid-fire phrases, sounds good, and got it.
These are the essential lubricants of digital collaboration. Let's take sounds good. It basically functions as the casual cousin of the word perfect. It's the all-purpose, low-friction workplace agreement. If someone asks, want to push the brainstorm to Friday, you wouldn't say, I formally agree with this proposal. That's robotic.
You're very robotic.
Sounds good. Hits the exact right note of agreeable flexibility without demanding further conversation.
Right, it's just a verbal nod,
Yeah.
but got a sort of slightly different function. Honestly, it seems almost too short to be useful.
Actually, got it is arguably one of the most vital tools in your arsenal because it acts as a digital receipt. Consider the anxiety of the sender, right? They just sent you a massive file or a long, detailed explanation of a new process. If you don't reply because no immediate action is required, they are left in a vacuum of silence.
Oh, I hate that vacuum.
Right. They sit there wondering, did it go through? Are they mad about the new process? Did they even read it?
They start spiraling.
Exactly. By taking 2 seconds to type got it, you close the loop, you confirm receipt and basic understanding, you relieve their anxiety, and you do it without opening the door to a whole new conversational thread. Both parties can instantly return to their focused work.
Closing the loop without starting a new one is like the holy grail of productivity.
It really is.
But eventually, the collaborative energy starts to fade. It's 4:04 or 50:00 p.m., which brings us to the final hurdle of the day, winding down and setting boundaries. As you prepare to log off, you inevitably have to manage the messages you missed when you were doing deep work, and you have to clearly communicate your unavailability.
Yes. And this transition from being hyper-available during the day to being completely unreachable, this is where people experience a tremendous amount of modern workplace anxiety.
That's for sure.
Because the line between office and home is so blurry now, especially in remote or hybrid setups, that disconnecting requires unambiguous communication.
Let's start with the missed messages, because this is where the guilt creeps in. You're looking at your chat, and you realize you totally forgot to reply to a vendor from yesterday.
Oh, the worst feeling.
The temptation, driven entirely by imposter syndrome and the fear of looking unproductive, is to write these elaborate Victorian-style apologies. Like, I am so deeply and profoundly sorry for not responding to your message in a timely manner. My meetings ran over, my calendar didn't sync. It's exhausting to read.
So exhausting.
So what does this all mean for our digital etiquette?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of how workplace trust is actually built, we have to embrace the golden rule our source lays out for apologies. A short apology equals professional. A long apology equals drama.
Drama on Slack is the absolute worst.
Nobody wants it. When you write a massive self-flagellating apology detailing all your scheduling woes, you're actually creating a brand new burden for the recipient.
Wait, really? How so?
Because you're forcing them to emotionally manage your guilt. They have to read your long paragraph, process your stress, and then they are socially obligated to type back an equally long reassurance saying, "Oh, please don't worry about it. I totally understand. We're all busy."
Oh, you're taking your own guilt and making it their chore to fix.
Exactly. The seasoned professional move is to acknowledge the slip-up quickly, remove the emotion, and deliver the goods. Sorry for the delay. Here's the updated deck.
Wow, that's so much better.
It's clean, it takes accountability without groveling, and most importantly, it moves the project forward instantly.
To drop the file, you offer a quick apology and you log off. Or maybe you're logging off for a whole week. Our source highlights the ultimate boundary-setting phrase, "I'm out next week." But they attach a very specific warning to how it's used.
Yeah, the phrase is crucial because it requires absolute clarity. "I'm out" is the standard professional shorthand for being unreachable. But you have to understand what out means in a culture where people have email on their phones.
It means you are digitally severed from the organization.
Right. Do not expect a reply. But the critical rule the source stresses is you must always, without fail, pair that boundary with a return date. "I'm out next week, back Monday the 28th.
That makes perfect sense. Because if you just post "I'm out" in a channel, you create an information vacuum. People are left guessing.
Exactly. Are you out for the afternoon? Are you at the dentist?
Are you hiking in the Alps for a month? Did you quit?
An undefined boundary actually generates anxiety for the rest of your team because they don't know when they can rely on you again. By providing the exact return date, you give them a concrete timeline. They can look at their own projects and say, "Okay, I can't ask him this today, but I will schedule a ping for Monday the 28th.
You're managing their expectations proactively.
Right.
And inevitably, when you post that you're out and set that boundary, people reply with, "Have a great trip," or "Enjoy the time off." To close out that interaction, our source gives us one final phrase to type before you close the laptop. "Thanks for understanding."
It acts as the polite cherry on top of any request for flexibility or time away.
It's a brilliant microtransaction of grace. Because by saying "thanks for understanding," you are implicitly acknowledging that your absence might cause a tiny bit of friction. Like someone might have to wait a little longer for an answer or pick up a little bit of slack while you're gone.
Yeah.
You're preemptively thanking them for their patience. You aren't asking for permission to leave, but you are honoring the impact of your departure. It leaves everyone feeling respected.
It cements the social bond right before you disconnect. It reminds them that while you are stepping away from the work, you value the relationship.
Which is really what all of this boils down to. From surviving the morning triage with a well-placed, quick question or a crucial heads up, to navigating the midday digital diplomacy of gentle reminders and looping in, all the way to setting firm, clear, out-of-office boundaries. These 10 phrases are the essential toolkit for navigating the daily ping storm.
And to truly integrate them, the source offers a highly actionable physical takeaway.
Okay, what is it?
You can't just memorize these phrases intellectually. You have to deploy them rapidly. So the advice is to open a notes app on your computer right now and physically type each of these 10 phrases out 3 times.
Actually type them out on the keyboard. Like, don't just read them.
Yes, the physical act of typing is crucial. Because workplace chat moves at lightning speed, you need your hands to build the actual neural pathways and muscle memory.
Right.
When someone drops a file in your lap, you shouldn't have to spend mental energy deciding how to confirm receipt. Your fingers should automatically tap out, "Got it," before you even consciously think about it. You want these tiny social contracts to bypass your conscious processing and become pure reflexes.
Muscle memory for digital diplomacy. If your fingers know what to do, your brain can focus on the actual work. But, taking a step back and looking at all 10 of these phrases laid out like a cheat sheet,
Yeah.
it leaves me with a pretty provocative thought to mull over. If these 10 incredibly simple, standardized phrases can successfully manage 90% of our daily interactions, how much of our professional personality is actually just a carefully curated set of automated responses?
Oh, wow. That raises an important question about the nature of the modern knowledge worker.
Right.
We adopt these phrases because they're undeniably efficient, they reduce friction, and they protect our boundaries. But that level of efficiency fundamentally changes how we express ourselves.
Exactly. Are we using this standardization to become highly efficient, perfectly evolved communicators who have hacked the system?
Hmm.
Or by typing these exact same 10 phrases day in and day out to the point of literal muscle memory, are we slowly training ourselves to speak and interact exactly like polite workplace chatbots?
That's a little unsettling.
Are we just algorithms wearing business casual? It's something to think about the next time you sit down at 9:13 a.m., the ping storm starts, and you reach for the keyboard. Maybe just stick to the code. Until next time, keep diving deep.